Yo, how you doing? KRL here. I am making this video for the production of Alabaster Box. Just to kind of give you guys an update, I got my brother here with me, so he may chime in here and there, but just to give you guys an update, it's doing pretty good. Came out last month, I believe on the 1st. I believe it was July 1st. And we already are kind of shaving 2K with no promotion or anything like that between YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Music. So thank you guys so much for the streams, listening to it, all of the positive feedback, some of the constructive criticism. I appreciate it all. But this video is for the people who would like to know the creative process behind it, like what we actually did to make the track, like the actual production of it before the writing. So I want to show you guys that. All right, so but before I do that, let me make sure. Yeah, see, that's why all these joints here. Don't worry, guys. I made a session just for this YouTube video, so I'm not deleting full vocals. I know y'all like, what are you doing? There we go. All right, cool. So when I started this track, I got this melody from Splice. I think it was a lot faster or something like that, but I changed the key and I like slowed it down. And I wanted to take a different approach to it, but I'll play it really quickly. So that's what it sounded like. I ended up later on in the track while we was actually doing the writing and the recording for it, I ended up like doing like this low bell during Songbird's verse. But then I liked it so much that I ended up putting it at the second half of the chorus as well. So it ended up sounding like this together. So that kind of sounds scary, and of course when you hear that, you kind of have a set way of like how you want to go with the track from there, especially when you make like rap music. But I wanted to try something different, so I pulled up Omnisphere. Man, if you don't have Omnisphere, save up, do what you got to do to get Omnisphere. I'm not sure if they have anything special or anything like that, but I paid $500 for it. That's the most expensive plugin that I have, but it's my favorite, man. Like I got a bunch of Waves plugins. I got Isotope. I love Arcade too. Contact actually. Splice. You can get a lot of that stuff through Splice when you rent to own. So you pay like a monthly rate and you have like full access to the products. So look into Splice, man. Splice is really effective, and like if I had Splice when I first started, I probably would be sitting somewhere with my feet getting rubbed or something like that. But yeah, check this out. So I did those two together, then I played the keys from Omnisphere. So this is what it sounded like. Man, so what I'm listening for when I'm creating those melody lines and things like that is I'm listening for like a certain emotion. Like how does this sound make me feel? And once I can basically assess that, then everything I'm playing and doing is to capture, like really bring that feeling to life. Like how do I take this one little melody and create this big thing with it? So I felt like the keys kind of did that in itself. And then I went to Arcade, played with Arcade sounds, and I found this sample. Grabbed the sample, pitched it down, and this is what I got. You kind of hear that in the beginning. You don't really hear it as much later on because there's a lot of other things going on, and I kind of tuck it. But it's just texture, just really for texture. So after I got that, I did the bass line. I know it looks weird now because I had went through with the session and organized it. And I'll show you guys how I did this in the next video when I show you how I mixed it. But so it's not in order of how the song was done. This is after it's been arranged and all that different kind of stuff. But then I went to the bass, so this is what we have for the bass. So that, to me, that was locked in when I was making it, man. I was like, that's perfect. So I went and I added some cymbals and things like that to kind of give it a little bounce. So as you can see, this snare that's green was added later in the mix. I was actually mixing it, and the snare I used was a little too thin. Matter of fact, let me play it for you. So when I was playing with it, I added this one. So those two together sounds like... It just kind of added just a little bit more body to the snare before I mixed it. Because a lot of times what people try to do when they get the mixing is they start like trying to add a bunch of EQ to make up and stuff. Like I'm a fan of pre-production. So if it sounds good before I mix it, I don't have to really do too much. You know what I mean? So if I don't like my snare, I'm not going to try to EQ and compress it until I do. I'm just going to go find another snare. And that's with every instrument I have. I'm not picky. If I don't like it, I'll just change it. Like it's just a MIDI file. I can just take the same progression I use and put it on another sound. Kick drum. Man, that's pretty much it, bro. Like this chorus sample. Yeah, man. So that's everything together. What you want to do once you get everything together, like when you build in the track, once you get everything together, when it's time to arrange it, that's when you want to start to see, okay, what's the most important elements. Sometimes you don't really know off the top of your head. Sometimes you have to, go through and mute different things. And how does it sound without this? How does it sound without this? Once it locks in, then you want the chorus to be the biggest section. You want that to be like the climax. But the verses, you want to kind of leave enough in there so you can still keep the feel of the song, but take some of the elements out that do a lot of the movement so it can just kind of create that open thing. All of that goes into it. So this is what it sounds like in the beginning. This is what it sounds like in the beginning going into the first verse. So that's kind of if you guys heard the song, this section. That's my part where I'm rapping. Then when I'm done, I go into the pre-chorus. It's like 1 a.m. over here. So I go into the pre-chorus, and then I always try to. Now this varies per song, but when it comes down to going into the chorus, you always want to kind of create some contrast. So when that thing hits, it hits, man. Like, if everything is already going on by the time it hits, it sounds like it's just a continuation of that. But if you take stuff out and then all that stuff drop at the same time, you're going to have what you're looking for. So this is what the pre-chorus sound like. And so if y'all all know the song, that's the part where I sing a very high note that I wouldn't have been able to hit without auto-tune. After that, everything else is trying to keep you guys interested in things like that. So, Songbird's verse, she was talking about. Excuse me. She was talking about getting into an altercation, like with. I don't want to give too much of the song away. You gotta hear it, but inside of her verse, she spoke about a run-in, with the police. So we had some sirens. She actually looked up what's the code for when you calling for backup, and she had like breathing going on. All of that was a part of the track, but to fit her verse, I'll still play it for you anyway, coming out of the hook. So then that second part of her verse sounds exactly like the first part of my verse. So, or kind of like the first part of my verse, which keeps everything sonically the same, moving, different paces and stuff like that. But man, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. What I would say when you guys are producing, start with something that feels good. It could be the drums, it could be the keys, it can be a sample. A lot of people like to sample. There's nothing wrong with sampling. But try to do that and then go from there. Like, you never want to make sure it feels good. Don't just make a track. Make sure it feels good. You know what I mean? Like, actually enjoy what you're doing. Like, find you a sound, let it resonate with you. Once that joint click, let it ride. If you can't feel nothing else, the song is done. Like, you don't need 25 tracks for it to be done. Sometimes a track that I make is done with 5 sounds, but I'm okay with that because that's how I felt, So, man, if y'all have any questions, you can leave them in the comments. Hit me up on Instagram at KRL Music. I will be putting out the mix video soon. That one's going to take me a little bit longer because I got to kind of go through some different things. I actually may break it up. I may break it up. So be on the lookout for that. But here's the production that we have. And I'm going to play the record on the way out, man. Thank you.
I was sinking deep in my sin, on the way to my grave. The enemy was my friend, and he ain't really like grace. My conscience told me I should run home, but he kept on saying I should wait. My soul screaming you're in danger, but he kept on saying I was safe. You ain't invited to the lamb's wedding. You been indicted for your transgression. You praise God, then you fail. You need to stay quiet till you learn your lesson. On my side, boy, it's no stressing. Plenty bags, boy, all blessing. I know you wanna see your fam good, not one struggling, all flexing. But little did I know he had a goal. Take my broken heart and weary soul, keep me in the dark and make me cold. Trade my right to live off for some gold. But it's all coming back to me. Actually, all of your blessings are vanity. You rule by hate and insanity. You trade our faith for a fantasy. I'm running back to my king. You don't know, you weren't there when he found me. You did not feel what I felt when he wrapped his arms around me. You don't know the cost.